And staying relaxed is something you learn in our patterns. I would say ITF Taekwondo, whereas
Yeah.
other patterns for traditional martial arts are very stiff, like I talked about at the very beginning. So being able to learn to be relaxed until that last second impact really teaches you how to control your balance, your breathing, and it all just meshes together.
Yeah. You know what's actually funny? Since you mentioned patterns, like I remember first time like you mentioned like the downward like block, right? And I remember you were like, it's not really like a block per se, it was more like a sweep, like swipe. You know what I mean?
It should be it. Well, it can transition to that. So, say as
Yeah.
you're doing the patterns, yeah, you block a certain way, but
Yeah.
it can turn into something else. Like, say, when I'm fighting long guard and I have my arms stuck out, and you would learn this block in patterns. So, when I'm parrying a front kick, like you said, I'll swoop out the way, but it's almost the same idea. I'm doing this to or parry the kick and come over with the cross. I built that muscle memory of being able to use this arm to deflect something while coming over with whether it's my other hand or a leg. It all that's why when General Choi founded and created Taekwondo, everyone knows you're not going to spar how you do patterns. It's not
Yeah.
realistic. But what he told I don't know if he told my dad or someone else, it's the point is to practice good habits and learn muscle memory skills. So whether you're using that technique or you're using it in a certain way, that's all he cared about. And you can see it works. Like I don't have to do the block like I do it in the pattern. Like I'm taking a second to execute it, but it's definitely transitioned into how I teach and train for striking and how you can see the difference. And when I teach someone else how to do something, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's because I remember one of the like the bigger criticisms of like traditional martial arts usually happens to be like patterns, right? And I feel like one of the things about patterns is that, at least like my view on it, is that it's supposed to be more like muscle memory. Like you're developing that muscle memory for like the moves and transitions. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, you're learning how to cut angles. You're learning how to balance yourself. You're learning how to control your breathing. You're learning so many, like General Troy said, just building good habits, learning how to have it in here without it being in here. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
sometimes I'll forget a pattern. I was training last week. I forgot a pattern. I had to like literally turn the switch off because my muscles still remember what to do. So it's kind of obviously there's some part of my brain in here that was able to still get the muscles moving in that certain direction and which techniques I was supposed to be doing. But the more I thought about it, the more I was forgetting versus just going with the flow.
I remember Wonder Boy actually. I think he talked about it. He said something like thinking is too slow. That's why like you just train it in
You
you
just have
so
to
that you don't
train
even have
how
to.
to react. Correct.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
so on this journey of martial arts that you've been in, um, I'm assuming you still like teach Taekwondo. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I teach. Well, I teach. I would say I'm able to now that I'm a striking coach at Max Gym. I'm able to teach Taekwondo to those trying to learn how to do, even though it's Dutch and Thai hybrid, I can teach the Taekwondo in that aspect because after they spar with me, they're like, can you please show me how you did that?
Yeah,
And that's how it was at top level. I mean, I wasn't a coach there, but either I would see someone struggling to do something I knew how to do when it came to like a back kick or something. I would go up to them and kindly show them. And after they were able to learn it, after I did repetition with them, they were like, "Oh, can you show me this? Can you show me this?" I'm not a coach, so I would tell them, ask the owner first. Like when they started, kept asking me, but at first it was just like, once I was able to hit them with it, they were just like, "You gotta show me. You gotta show me how you did that."
yeah. No, that's true. I feel like at least one thing that I found a lot of um like MMA gyms, right, or even Muay Thai gyms or whatever it is that when you come with like a traditional martial art background, right? Is
They
that
hate it. They hate it.
yeah, yeah,
They do not like it.
yeah.
That's why when I first went to top level, I did not tell them I did taekwondo. I did not tell them I did anything.
Mm.
And one day I brought my friend to drop in to train. And he starts telling everybody. And like,
Oh,
oh, well, this makes a lot of sense now. I'm like, bro, why you gotta tell them? Like, yeah, he's an international competitor and he's been training for like 25 years. I'm like you've been sandbagging this whole time. Like, this makes so much sense now. Like, oh, well, it's out of the cat's out of the bag now. It's just I didn't want to go in with people because I get the feeling when you go to a Thai school, MMA school, and he's like, oh, I have my black belt in this and I've done this, and they start
you don't
seeing you
respect it.
thinking you
Yeah,
know too much, or you
yeah,
think you're on your high horse. And I didn't want that. I wanted to go in and think like white belt, like I'm here to learn new stuff, and I didn't want to come off like that. So once
yeah.
once that got out, people were figuring it out. So, but nobody, at least at top level, nobody gave me a hard time about it. It was more so like, and one of the owners has a WT, the owner he background, so he was more than happy to see the mesh of styles and differences. So they were very open to that. But I've been other
I
places
like
that are like that and very frowned upon when it comes to it.
yeah. No, that's true because I've also been at places where some of them accept it and some of them don't, obviously.
My coach used to say, if it works, use it.
Yeah,
Not about the styles. If it works, you should use it.
yeah, exactly. No, I 100% agree with that. So
And
before we end off, do you have any things that you feel like you wanted to say but you didn't get the chance to say?
no, I think unless you got any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. If you got any at all, I'm more than happy to answer them. Like I said, I've been transitioning my style into Dutch and Thai for a while. I can't consider myself a Thai coach because I don't have strictly Thai training for many years. I don't have Dutch training for many years, but I'm able to mix in my style with that style, and that's why I'm just considered the assistant striking coach for the fight team that we have at Max Gym. So I'm still learning as an instructor. I'm still learning as a coach, and I'm still learning as a student. And I think the best way to look, everyone's like, oh, I got my black belt. I'm a cool guy. Well, you see these 5-year-olds with black belts nowadays. It's disgusting. And
Oh yeah,
it's just in our organization, I don't know if you remember when you had to take tests you had to take like written tests for color belts. They would ask you the meaning of yellow belt, green
yeah.
belt. So do you know what the meaning of your first degree black belt means? Or do you remember, before I ask you that, do you remember what white belt means?
If I'm not mistaken, it means purity, right?
Yeah, it's like purity, innocence.
Yeah.
So it took me, I don't know, 11, 12 years to get to first degree black belt. Do you know what first degree black belt means when it comes to the translation of different ranks? And then once you get your first degree black belt,
I'm not too sure, no.
you can take a guess.
Is it like you're kind of like a reborn like white belt in a way, or no?
Close. It's like it means novice. Like your
Novice.
path has just begun
Okay.
because there's still ninth degree black belt. My dad started when he was like, I don't know, 16 at Niles North High School. He got his ninth degree at 60, I don't know, 60 something. That's how long it took him for doing it. I mean, it goes to show it's like I remember my first national international competition at 16. I was a red belt. I wasn't even gotten my black belt yet, and I had been training since I was 7. And just then, I learned the difference between sparring in class. And this is like people want to knock Taekwondo for not full con. No, this dude was beating my face in. He was punches and bunches. It was an open weight class too. I did not expect an open weight class. I was like 112 pounds, 16. The adult division is 16 to 29. This guy was 6'3", 265. And he was just pounding away at my face. And I'm like, oh, well, that really opened my eyes. And there's a big difference between local tournaments and very high up international, national competitions.
Yeah. That's like the thing with martial arts. It's a long journey. And I guess one of my closing thoughts will be that, just in general, that martial arts, it's like it's a long journey. It's not like it's not a race, it's a marathon really. And
Yeah, the martial arts part is definitely a marathon.
yeah,
A fight is a sprint. You're fighting.
yeah,
That's a sprint. In boxing, 10 rounds, yeah, it's a marathon, but you're sprinting all those 10 rounds. You should be.
yeah, yeah, no,
So,
that's for
yeah,
sure.
it's definitely a journey. After, like I said, from 7 to 16, I still wasn't a black belt. When I finally got black belt, like 17, 16, I'm considered a novice.
Yeah,